Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Malacanang Press Corps. Welcome to the press briefing of Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Good morning. We are pleased to have today the Public Attorney's Office Chief, Dr. Presida Rueda Acosta. She was appointed as nationwide head of the PAO on February 23, 2001 by former President and current member of the House of Representatives, Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. She is a fourth placer in the 1989 bar examinations. She is a Doctor of Social Development graduate from UP and did her Executive Fellows program at the JFK School in Harvard. She was a panel speaker in the United Nations Development Program and United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime. UNODC organized International Conference on Access to Legal Aid in Criminal Justice Systems in 2014 in South Africa. She has also been invited to the same office, to the same organization as an expert resource person during the open-ended intergovernmental meeting of experts on access to legal aid in criminal justice system in 2011 in Austria. She is a professor in law at Ateneo, and she's got an impressive list, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome PAO Chief Presida Acosta. Ma'am.
Thank you, Secretary Abella. Isa pong mapagpalayang araw sa ating mga kababayan. Narito po ako para magbalita sa ating maralitang Pilipino na ang kanilang mga lawyer na nag-retire mula noong 2010 ay babayaran na po ng retirement gratuity ng ating mahal na Pangulo, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, mamayang hapon. Umaabot po ng more or less 178 million ang kanilang 5-year lump sum total. At kasama na rin po dito yung 5 pamilya na namatayan. Yung aming kabilang sa aming PAO 44, yung 5 pamilya. Pamilya ni Attorney Rudy Alonso, Attorney Dawas, Attorney Sabiliano, at may 2 pa. At may recent din pong namatay si Attorney Wilfredo Mayol ng Bohol. So ito po ay sabisa rin ng pagdidemanda ng PAO, retirees, laban kay Secretary Boots Abad at ng ilang opisyal ng DBM noon. Nanalo po kami noong February 14 ng taong ito sa sala ni Judge Maria Hilda Loja Pangilinan, Branch 230 ng Quezon City. At nagwagi po ang PAO retirees, karapat-dapat pong bigyan ng retirement equivalent to the retirement of the NAPROS and the counterparts in the judiciary. So ito po ang hinihintay namin, nakasabay ng pagdating ng bagong Pangulo na naging pag-asa po ng maralitang Pilipino, Mayor Duterte. At kalinsabay din po, pagpapasalamat sa Supreme Court sapagkat lumabas na po ang kautusan na panalo po ang PAO doon sa seso case. Hindi po kailangan magseso ang mga public attorneys kagaya ng mga hukom at mga piskal. So lumabas na po ang desisyon, talo po ang SES Board. Sa pangunguna ni talo po si Attorney Maria Antoinette Velasco Aliones, nanalo po ang PAO at CSC sa Korte Suprema and Bank. At mamayang hapon din po, kalinsabay ng pagbabayad ng gobyernong Duterte ng retirement ng ating mga PAO retirees at pamilya ng mga namatay na PAO, ay magbabayad na din po ng kabuang halaga ng lote sa Commonwealth Avenue na magiging PAO Central Office Building po, katabi ng COA Main. So talagang ito po ay pasimula ng masagana at mahusay na pagpapairal ng justice system sa ating bansa dahil pinalalakas po ng Duterte administration ang justice system sa pamamagitan ng Public Attorney's Office. Ngayon, kaugnay po nito, bilang ako po ay isa sa tinaguriang, with due respect, expert ng United Nations on Drugs and Crimes. Pinadala po ako sa Vienna 2 beses at nung kamakailan ay sa South Africa. Meron pong ibabalita ako sa inyo para maintindihan ng lahat kung bakit nagkaroon ng EO15 series of 2017, nitong March, yung ICAD, yung Interagency Committee Against Illegal Drugs. Kasama po ang PAO. Meron pong rekomendasyon ang United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime sa lahat ng bansa. At ito po ay 4. Naririto po ang una, kailangan ang policies to eradicate illegal drugs, strong policies, strong, transparent, and fair criminal justice institutions, and targeted efforts to dismantle transnational organized criminal organizations. At may rekomendasyon ding prevention and treatment of drug use work. At meron ding kailangang magkaroon ng principle of common and shared responsibility ang bawat mamamayan at mga bansa sa paglaban nito. Dahil meron ding findings po ang United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime na umaabot ng 340 tons ang pag-ikot ng mga droga, illegal drugs sa buong mundo. At kabilang din po dito ang Pilipinas. Ito po yon. So yung sinasabi ng iba na speculative di umano, na sinasabing may 4 na milyong kontaminado na sa Pilipinas, yan po ay may empirical data, may empirical basis. At mismong ang United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime ay meron pong mga rekomendasyon na kailangan tuparin hindi lang ng Pilipinas, kundi maging ng iba't ibang estado. Kaya po sa aking palagay ay ang ibang mga presidente ng mga bansa ay talagang sumasaludo at humahanga sa ating bagong Pangulo. Dahil meron po siyang political will para magdeklara ng war on drugs. Ang ibig sabihin po nito ay hindi baril laban sa baril o sandata na pumuputok laban sa sandata, kundi kikitilin at papawiin ang kontaminasyon o kamandag ng droga sa ating bayan. Dahil noong pong June 2016, pagbaba ni Pinoy, 82,000 po ang naiwan naming kliyente. Mga small user, small possessor, hindi maka-plea bargaining. Kasi bawal sa Republic Act 9606, yung Comprehensive Drugs Act. Bawal ang plea bargaining kahit small time. Kaya pumunta po kami sa Supreme Court, nag-file po kami ng case Stefona versus Judge Lobrigo. Hinihiling namin na inalipay na ng Supreme Court yung pagbabawal na yan, 2 ground. Violation ng equal protection of the law. Bakit yung mga murder, parricide, may plea bargaining? Bakit yung small time na naging adventurous lang ay nakukulong ng habang buhay? Tapos, pangalawa, may rulemaking power ng Supreme Court at hindi dapat na-encroach ng Congress. So dapat ibalik ang plea bargaining para maiparehab po natin. Doon sa ICAD, doon sa EO15, makikita natin na wala pong state-sponsored EJK. Bakit? 4 po ang cluster doon. Una, nandyan ang social justice cluster, nandyan ang law enforcement cluster, nandyan ang rehabilitation and reintegration cluster, at nandyan din ang tinatawag na advocacy cluster. 3 po ang kinabibilangan ng PAW. For the first time in the history po ng mga executive order, ngayon lang po kami nakasama sa Presidential Task Force na ganito. Kasama po kami sa advocacy cluster, kasama po kami sa justice sector cluster, kasama po kami sa rehab and reintegration cluster. Wala pong intensyon ng Estado na patayin ang sinumang drug user o drug trafficker. Ang gusto po ng administrasyon ay social justice, rule of law. Kaya po yung 82,000 na kliyente namin na naging 300,000 noong December 31, 2016, first semester po ni Pangulong Duterte, buhay na buhay po ang aming mga kliyente. Kung paniniwalaan natin sa sabi ba, state sponsor dyan, pinapatay walang awa, wala na po kaming client. Sana, pero buhay na buhay po ang aming mga kliyente. Ngayon, ang ating batas po, ang revised penal code, meron pong justifying circumstance talaga ang ating Estado. Kung mapapasapanganib ang buhay ng pulis, ng law enforcer, ng mamamayan, talagang pwedeng gumamit ng reasonable force ang ating mga kapulisan. Ngayon, ano ang katibayan ko na wala pong state-sponsored EJK? Una, may 4 pong sensational cases na halimbawa. Una, ang Espinosa case. Inimbestigahan ng Senado, operational ang ating Senado, operational ng hukuman, at na nag-gather po ng witnesses, PAW Tacloban at NBI Tacloban. At ngayon po, nakakulong na yung mga CIDG personnel at may pagbibista na sa korte sa Baybay, Leyte. Ikalawang kaso, yung John De La Riarte case, 2 pulis, HPG, binugbog nila, walang awa, yung isang nagmumotorsiklo sa EDSA, si John De La Riarte, nakuna ng konduktor ng bus ng footage. Talaga pong masakit man sa akin, tinulungan po natin ang biktima, ang pamilya, nakakulong po ang mga pulis hanggang sa nagpakamatay yung isa. si De Villa. Natira po si Manunog, binibistahan ngayon sa RTC Makati ni Judge Lito Calpatura. Ikatlo, yung Bon Tanto case, ang biktima si Mark Vincent Galarde, isang Army reservist ang suspect. Tinugis ng pamahalaan at ipinakulong po at binibistahan ngayon sa RTC Manila. Ikaapat, yung sinasabi sa Pasay na di umano EJK at napatay sa police station, nakakulong na rin po yung mga pulis, yung 2 pulis na sinasabing suspect sa pagpatay doon sa suspect sa illegal drugs. Kumikilos po ang ating judiciary, law enforcers, ang ating investigative arms, at maging ang Kongreso tulong-tulong para kung merong nagkamali, bistahan, bigyan ng due process. Wala pong kinukonsinti ang ating pamahalaan. Paano sasabihin merong state-sponsored EJK? Wala po. Sadyang kinakailangang tapusin ang kamandag ng droga sa ating bayan. Bakit? Sinasabi po sa UNODC report, sino ba ang nabibiktima dito? Ito po, babasahin ko. The operational recommendations contained in the outcome document encompass measures to address demand and supply reduction, as well as to improve access to controlled medicine while preventing their diversion. They cover human rights, youth, children, women, and communities, and highlight emerging challenges and the need to promote long-term, comprehensive, sustainable, development-oriented, and balanced drug control policies and programs that include alternative development. Kaya po, ang ating Pangulo sinisikap makapagpagawa tayo ng bagong rehabilitation center. Sa Nueva Ecija, meron. 10,000 capacity. Sa Bukidnon, meron. Sa Visayas, meron. May mga ginagawa. Kaya pag nagwagi po ang PAW na mapanalify ang prohibition sa plea bargaining, dadalin po natin yung mga nasa kulungan na yan na kontaminado sa droga. Bubuhayin, pakakainin, dadamitan, at bibigyan ng psycho-counseling para po makabalik sa pamumuhay na payapa at maayos. At ang sinasabi pa rin dito, bakit masama ang droga? May nagsasabi, wala namang epekto ang droga sa katawan sa isip. Hindi po totoo yun. Dahil nandirito, this year's report offers insight into the wide-ranging impact of drugs, not only on the health and well-being of individuals, but also on the people around them, families and communities. This can include such harms as HIV, as well as the threat of violence faced in particular by women and children. Ngayon, nadidinig natin ang pahayag ng Pangulo, the children of my country, the future generation. Yung kanya pong EO, yung kanya pong mga sinasabi, ay compliant with the United Nations Organizations on Drugs and Crimes recommendation. Ito po ang nilalaman nito, kaya ipamamahagi po sa inyo itong preface to. Makapal ho kasi ito. May summary sa preface at para po mabasa ng mga media. Ako po'y nanahimik ng ilang buwan dahil busy-busy po sa pagtatrabaho, pagtulong sa nangangailangan, pero kinakailangan basagin ko na po ang aking katahimikan. Ang ating Pangulo po'y abogado, nag-aral, nagbabasa araw-araw ng dyaryo, alam niya ang nangyayari. At ako po ay representative palagi ng ating bansa sa United Nations Organizations on Drugs and Crime. Hindi pwedeng ang magwagi po ay yung mga transnational crime, syndicates, yung mga advocate nila. Dahil paano po ang ating kinabukasan? Isang araw magigising tayo, makakasalubong natin, puro para mga zombie. Yung mga anak natin, gagasain, mamartilyuhin, papatayin. Tapos yung pagtusok-tusok, yan po ang nagiging dahilan. Yung isang syringe ng HIV, kaya lumalaganap sa ating bayan. So talagang napapanahon na po, yung sinasabing pati community magtulong, ang media, religious groups, at tayong lahat ng sektor ng lipunan, magtulong-tulong, suportahan natin ang programa ng pamahalaan upang i-dismantle ang mga illegal, prohibited, and regulated drugs. Yun po yun.
Okay, the floor is now open for questions. Microphone, please.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, may tweet si UN Special Rapporteur Agnes Callamard last week na yung daw pong paggamit ng shabu ay wala raw pong masamang epekto sa isip at hindi raw po nagdudulot ng violenteng reaction. Ano po yung masasabi niyo ron?
Para pong contradictory siya dito sa World Report ng United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. I respect her opinion, pero ito pong UNODC ay kabahagi ng United Nations na nananawagan ng pagtutulong-tulong ng lahat ng bansa upang i-dismantle ang transnational organized criminal organizations on drugs. Dahil sinasabi rito nga, masama ang epekto sa kalusugan. At sinasabi din ng UNODC, hindi lang libo ang namamatay dahil sa droga. Libo-libo po ang namamatay sa buong mundo. Masama po ito sa kalusugan. Una, makita mo pa lang Aaminin ko, meron po kaming kasama sa PAW isa. Nung 2 weeks ago, pinadala ko sa Camp Bagong Diwa. Nauubos ang ngipin, nguyan ng nguyang ganyan. Tapos, nung i-drug test namin, ayaw niya na may kasama siya sa comfort room. Umamin siya gumagamit. Sirang-siraho ang kalusugan para ng ganon. Saan niya kaya nakuhang data yang hindi nakakaapekto sa kalusugan? Nakakaapekto po yan. Bata pa po ako nung araw, meron pong mag-asawa, ay wala na silang pera ibigay pambili ng droga ng anak. Ang ginawa sa kanila ng anak nila, nilagyan sila ng gasolina at sinunog sila. Doon po sa amin, meron pong isang tumigil sa pagdodroga doon sa Bataan. Nakita na lang namin nasa highway, pinatay po dahil ayaw na niyang sumali sa paggamit at pagbebenta ng droga. Hindi ba nakakasama yan? At marami po ang napupunta sa National Center for Mental Health na dahil sa droga, kaya po nagkaroon ng paranoia, schizophrenia, at sari-sari po ng mga pagkasira ng isip. Hindi lang ng katawan, kundi ng isip. Hindi ko po alam ang basis niya at reference niya dyan, pero ang reference ko po ay empirical at talagang scientific because the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes ay meron pong pahayag sa World Report. Siguro dapat basahin niya ho ito para maintindihan niya yung kanyang sinasabi. Pasensya na po, Ma'am Calamard, pero marami po akong namimit ng mga United Nations officer, pero kaisa ho ni Pangulong Duterte sa kanyang prinsipyo na tatanggalin niya ang kamandag ng droga sa ating bayan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rose Novenario of Hataw. Joseph Morong of GMA7. Okay. Yeah, Joseph.
I'd like to pick up on 2 points first. Yung muna sa drugs, yung petition nyo before the Supreme Court, when was this filed? And ano yung threshold for the amount para maging
Maging
pwede sa
makapag-plea
plea bargain?
bargaining.
Yeah.
We filed this last year around September to November, I think. The latter part of December. And this should be an en banc deliberation. We requested for oral argument, but the Office of the Solicitor General objected. So nagtataka kami, 82,000 ang involved dito na small drug user, pero hindi po na-set for oral argument. Pero may isang case, isa lang involved, naka-oral argument. So ito pong amin ay collateral attack doon sa constitutionality ng unconstitutionality ng prohibition on plea bargaining. Tapos kasi nag-motion yung ating kliyente na ang involved lang ay 0.008 grams, napakalaliit na possession lang. Dahil hindi siya makapli, gusto na niyang makalabas, makapagparehab. Pero dininay po ni Judge Lobrigo. Nag-MR kami, motion for recon, denied, so pumunta po kami ng Korte Suprema. So sana po tulungan niyo kami na pag-aral ng Korte Suprema at i-invoke ng Supreme Court ang kanilang rule-making power na hindi po pwedeng encroach ng Congress. Dahil ang plea bargaining, bahagi po ng criminal procedure yan.
Ma'am, yung Judge Lobrigo is lower court, no? Anong area to?
Bicol.
Bicol.
Sa sa Albay.
So yun yung stem ng...
Opo,
Ma'am, yung threshold na dapat i-allow yung plea bargain from your point of view?
Ang plea bargaining doon sa mga user at sa mga possessor, yun ang amin
How
nire-request.
much? Wala kayong recommendation?
Wala kami recommendation. Kasi pag naman set up o frame up, naka-acquit sa court. Pero kadalasan ang natitira ay yung mga maliliit, mga small time talaga at mga mahihirap nating kababayan na gustong-gusto namin maparehab pero hindi namin mailabas.
But if the Supreme Court is going to ask you, how small is small to allow for plea bargain?
Actually, sa plea bargaining kasi talaga, kay heinous crime yan, allowed ng criminal procedure. Depende sa gusto ng judge o sa consent ng prosecution. Pero kung malakas ang ebidensya, hindi papayag ang prosecution.
So the plea bargain will be based on what?
Will be based on the consent of the complainant and the prosecutor,
Not the amount?
not the amount.
Okay.
On the evidence also. Kasi kami mismo, kung drug trafficker, hindi kami magre-recommend ng plea bargaining.
So if it's just a user...
Possessor, yan. At saka may doubt sa kanilang culpability. just to save them kung contaminated, dahil ang problema, hindi natin magagaranti na wala silang mabibili sa loob ng kulungan. So ang kulungan natin, sinasabi nga rito, yung prolonged imprisonment, hindi cure sa drug addiction. Kailangan talaga ilabas, iparehab sa mga rehab centers.
Ma'am, doon sa retirees nyo lang po, bakit sila hindi nabayaran?
Yung sa retirees, kasi naglabas ng legal opinion si Attorney Candice Ruiz ng legal service ng DBM. Hindi raw kami kasali sa retirement ng judiciary at ng NAPROS. Pero ang batas naman ng PAW, Republic Act 9406, ay very categorical na yung salary, benefits, retirement ng public attorney shall be equal to their counterparts in the National Prosecution Service. And here comes a new law, Republic Act 10071, saying that the retirement of our counterparts shall be equivalent to the judicial officers or our counterparts, the judges. So, hindi in-honor noon ni Boots Abad yun, ni Sec Boots. So, nagkaroon ng maraming palitan ng mga papel hanggang sa napilitan ang ating mga retirees na tumakbo sa korte, humingi ng tulong. We filed a petition for certiorari, mandamus, and injunction. Nanalo po tayo. Nanalo po ang maralitang Pilipino.
Okay, Ted Tavera of Daily Tribune.
Ma'am, good morning po. Ma'am, nabanggit niyo po kanina yung kaso ni Mayor Espinosa sa Leyte. At saka yung pagpapakulong nga po dun sa mga pulis na sangkot sa kaso niya. Ma'am, lagi po kasing nababanggit ni Pangulong Duterte sa mga speech niya na pag may mga pulis raw na nakapatay sa linya ng paggawa ng trabaho sa droga, bibigyan niya ito ng pardon para makalaya. Ma'am, anong impression po ang nalilikha na itong parang sinasabi ni Presidente sa kanila na may guarantee sila?
Firstly, it's an absolute plenary power of the President to grant pardon, commutation, clemency, and any form of reprieve. He will just exercise his plenary and absolute power under the Constitution. Kasi siya nagsasalita, kala nyo walang legal basis, may legal basis at behind his statements dahil siya ay lawyer at dating prosecutor. Ngayon, para sa akin, ayaw niyang ma-demoralize yung ibang pulis sa pagtulong nila, paggawa ng trabaho nila, at pagtugis sa mga kriminal, baka wala ng pulis na mag-aresto. So, ang punto doon, ito ay isang hudyat na wag ma-demoralize ang mga nasa ranks. Yun lang yun. Nakikita ko, yung good faith niya doon.
Ma'am, pero hindi po kaya, ma'am, nagbibigay ito ng impression o pagtotolerate sa gawain ng ibang mga pulis na pumapatay?
Hindi. Dahil ayaw niya yung pagpatay ng walang awa. Kaya nga kami sa PAW, nagpapakulong kami ng pulis kung talagang pumatay ka ng walang awa. Tingnan mo yung sa John de la Riarte, kahit murahin ako ng pamilya ng pulis, dahil sabi ka daw, nagpakamatay yung pulis, kasalanan ko, dahil kinasuhan daw namin. Pero, hindi pwedeng papatay ng walang awa. Kailangan may basis yung yung fulfillment of duty. Yung malalagay sa panganib ang mga mamamayan, malalagay sa panganib ang buhay ng pulis. Bakit yung iba tuwan-tuwa pag pulis ang napapatay? Walang human rights ang pulis. Bakit? Sinong gusto niya magproteksyon sa atin? Mamatay lahat ng pulis. Sino pa magpoproteksyon ng peace and order? Pagka ang nababarel sa isang encounter ay yung may sinasabing suspects, galit na galit sila. Pero pag pulis, wala silang pakialam. Ni Abuloy, walang matanggap ang pulis sa kanila. Mali. May human rights po ang lahat. Hindi lang ang akusado. Lalo dito sa droga, 96 million uncontaminated. 4 million contaminated. Yung contaminated lang ba ang may human rights? Lahat po may human rights. Everybody, yun ang ibig sabihin ng humanity. Tayong lahat may human rights. Ngayon, kung itong 4 million ay magiging pandemonic, menace, papatayin tong 96 million at hahawanan 96 million, tungkulin ng Estado by virtue of the police power of the state na gumawa ng aksyon, strong action against these 4 million. Ganun po yun. Kasi paano tayo? Yung ibang bansa nga, kumukonsulta sa Pangulo para anong gagawin. Yung iba, anong gusto? Maging tayo, drug laden ng ating mga pamayan, lalabas ka. Hindi mo alam yung driver ng taxi, yung pala bangag. Yung uuwi ka, pagdasok mo, may tao na sa bahay mo. Ay talaga pong tulong-tulong. At nakita ko sa Bohol, yung kooperasyon ng community, napakaganda po. Para masugpo ang mga terrorists o yung mga drug traffickers na yan, tumulong po tayong lahat. At isang magandang umaga, samantalahin natin ang pagkakataon, binigyan tayo ng bagong Pangulo na may political will.
Ma'am, last na lang po, ma'am. Paano po kung yung mga pulis na to may mga valid na kaso nga po talaga na...
Antayin po natin ang due process. Pag sinintensya na sila ng hukuman, ay di sinintensya, may apila, may due process po eh. Everyone is entitled to due process under Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. Kaya nga po, bawal pumatay ng walang awa. Kailangan lahat may due process. Kaya ikinukulong. Kailangan ikulong yan. Ngayon, ang problema po ng bansa, let us be patient. Kulang po tayo ng kulungan. Kaya magpapagawa po ng mga kulungan. And I salute Herbert Bautista, magpapagawa ng bagong jail dyan sa Payatas para po sa Quezon City Jail. Yun po yun. Kasi yung mga sweeping conclusion, wag po sana ganon. Kailangan mag-aral tayo. Ano ba ang kailangan sa bayan natin? Criticisms, mga suggestions, recommendations, they are all welcome. Pero maging constructive po tayo. Sayang ang panahon. Sayang ang pagkakataon pong ito para maging maayos po ang bayan natin. Nahuli na po tayo sa ibang bansa. Ngayon, umaandar na ang ating economy. Ngayon yung iba, gusto ba sa akin yung ating kumbaga political system, wag tayong pumayag. Kailangan maging maayos po ang bansa natin.
Okay, last two questions for the POW Chief. Yeah, gentleman from Business Mirror.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, nagpahayag po ang several member states and you keep on invoking UN po. Nagpahayag po ang several member states ng UN na payagan si Special Rapporteur Agnes Callamard na magsagawa ng investigasyon ng extrajudicial executions dito sa bansa. As we know, hindi po maganda ang relasyon ng gobyerno with Callamard given yung rejection niya sa mga conditions na ibinigay ng gobyerno. And upon voting, 45 nations po ang nagsabing dapat imbestigahan ng EJ case dito sa bansa. And only one country said na hindi dapat, which is China, a known ally of the Duterte administration. Ano pong opinion niyo rito?
Sa akin, welcome yan. Wala na may ikatatakot ang bansa natin, kahit sino mag-imbestiga. Kailangan lang patas, fair ang pag-imbestiga. Tignan ang intensyon ng mga state policies natin, okay lang yan. Dahil wala na may ikatatakot ang ating gobyerno kay Ma'am Agnes Callamard. Dahil wala naman pong ginagawa na labag sa konstitusyon at sa prevailing laws ang ating bayan. Welcome yan. Sapagkat wala po, sinabi ko na nga yung 4 na malaking kaso, meron pang maliliit na kaso kami na involved ang pulis, na nakakulong po ang mga pulis at may tinatapon nga, tinatanggal, dinidismiss from service, si General De La Rosa. Meron tayong accountability, transparency, and empowerment with respect to our ranks. Sa PAW po, 10 abogado ang tinanggal ko na dyan para mapataas ang kalidad ng serbisyo ng mga PAW. 10. O yung aking mga sinuspend, baka mga 50. O kaya, para malinis mo talaga, gagawa ka ng sanctions sa mga lumalabag. Ngayon, investigasyon, welcome. Mag-imbestiga kayo. Basta patas lang, ay baka ang iimbestigahan ay unfair o bias na agad ang statement. Dapat puntahan ang tamang mga government stakeholders at mga organisasyon. Dahil kung ang pupuntahan ay yung mga kaalyado lang nila na parang para durugin ang pamahalaan, mali po yun. Huwag po tayong pumayag na wasakin ang ating estado ng sinuman. We should defend the state, gaya ng ginagawa ng mga sundalo. Tungkulay, pagtanggol ang ating sovereignty, ang pulis, peace and order. Tayo mga mamamayan, dapat suportahan natin ang mabuting panukala ng ating gobyerno.
Okay, last question from Benji Liwanag of DZBB.
Magandang umaga, Attorney. Ang tanong ko po, ang Commission on Human Rights ay mag-iimbestiga doon sa pagkamatay ng isa sa mga Abu Sayyaf na hawak ng mga pulis from Bohol, kung saan napatay po ito. Nagko-coordinate ba sila sa Public Attorney's Office at ano po ang take ninyo dito? Kasi pinag-usapan ho natin kanina, sinabi ninyo, yung basag karapatang pantao.
Opo. Wala po silang koordinasyon sa amin tungkol dyan sa Abu Sayyaf. Ang suggestion ko lang sa CHR, kung iimbestigahan nila yung mga napatay na Abu Sayyaf during encounter o kaya ay in the hands of the law enforcers during their detention kung sakali may problema, imbestigahan din nila sana yung mga sitwasyon na ang Abu Sayyaf namumugot ng ulo, pumapatay at kundinahin din nila ang Abu Sayyaf para patas po. Kasi baka ang maging dating lang, magpasintabi po sa CSR, mas palalakasin mo ang advocacy ng Abu Sayyaf kaysa advocacy ng ating mga sundalo at mga pulis. patas po dapat tayo. Marami na po tayong sundalo na pinugutan ng ulo. Marami na po tayong pulis na napatay sa mga encounters nila. At mga sibilya at mga foreigner sa kamay ng Abu Sayyaf. Dapat po patas sa bawat pagkilos. Dahil ang kapangyarihan ibinigay ng Estado ng konstitusyon, hindi gagamitin para sa iilan. Yan ay gagamitin sa kapakanan ng majority.
Pero ma'am, meron na ba kayong isang kaso or mga kaso na nanalo na kasama itong Commission on Human Rights?
Meron po. Yung kaso ni Cadet Aldrin Jeff Cudya, kakampi po namin sila. Sila po ang nag-recommend na arbitrary ang hindi pagpayag ng nakaraang administrasyon na siya'y makagraduate. Sa pamamahala po ni Chairman Eta Rosales. Documented po yan. Kaya lang ang Supreme Court, ang sabi, academic freedom, nasa Commander-in-Chief ang desisyon. So kami po ay may apila kay Pangulong Duterte at ang atin namang OP ni-remand sa Chief of Staff. Nasa legal po ng AFP ang hiling ni Mr. Renato Cudya para kay Cadet Aldrin Jeff Cudya na mabigyan man lang kahit diploma. Magkakampi po kami ng CHR dyan. At noong 2004, meron 2 bibitayin na parang accessory lang sila o naging lookout yung isa. Kakampi po namin si Commissioner, Chairman Purifikasyon Kisumbing. Nagtatandem po kami ng CHR sa pagbibigay ng karapatang pantao. Noong pumunta ako sa Vienna bilang isa sa expert ng gobyerno sa pag-draft ng Principles and Guidelines on Criminal Legal Aid, ako po ang nagpahayag na isang fundamental human right ang legal aid. So napaka-importante ang legal aid para po hindi magrebelde ang isang tao, dali natin sa hukuman, dali natin sa tamang investigador, law enforcer para po mabigyan ng hustisya. Legal aid, yan po. Magkakaugnay po kami.
Sa kasalukuyan ho, meron tayong maraming bilang na mga namatay dahil na rin doon sa paglaban sa illegal na droga. Meron din po ba kayong kaso na hinahawakan kasama o katuwang itong Commission on Human Rights, Attorney?
Wala po.
Wala.
Meron pong isang pamilya tumawag, nagpa-legal advice sa aming opisina, sa aming hotline. Pero nung tanungin po ng ating abogado kung desididong magkaso, ang sagot po ay nakakalungkot. Hindi sila magkakaso kasi buong pamilya sila ay nagtitinda ng droga. Talaga nakakaiyak to. Kala ng iba, imbento. Pamilya po ang kontaminado. At problema rin po ng mga nakakariwasang pamilya ang droga. May isa pa isa-isa sa family na involved. Kaya nagtataka nga ako, bakit iilan lang yung lumalapit sa amin, yung iba ayaw. Kasi buong pamilya po ay, kumbaga ay involved. Kaya kung minsan din yung masisi ang mga pulis nakikipag-unahan sa bala ang pulis dahil marami na nga pong pulis ang napatay ng mga sindikato. Kasi ang hirap po naman kung laging pulis ang nakabulagta, tapos masaya ang iba. Nakakalungkot po. Bakit masaya ang iba pag ang pulis ang namamatay? Malungkot sila pag ang napatay ay yung ang hinahabol ng pulis. Pero pag pulis, di sila nalulungkot. Pero pansinin natin ang Pangulo natin, kahit busy, pinupuntahan niya ang mga burol ng mga pulis, mga sundalo, dinadamayan niya. Nakakalungkot minsan. Yung perspective po nating lahat, kailangan mag-meet sa tamang landas, tamang perspektiba. Human rights for all, para sa lahat. Kung may human right ang akusado, may human right din ang nagsasakdal, ang biktima. Kailangan balansyado. Ang babalanse dyan, batas. Ano ang batas? Ano ang parameters? Yan po.
So nakikita po ba natin ang CHR ngayon hindi patas?
Hindi ko sinasabi hindi patas. Ang point ko lang, na-highlight. Mansinin nyo kami. I know when to talk and when not to talk. Kung ang sasabihin ko ay hindi makakabuti para sa nakararami, ba't ako magsasalita? Kung mapopromote mo ang advocacy ng mga kriminal, bakit mo ipopromote? Dapat nang ipromote natin advocacy ng human rights, ng humanity, ng taong bayan na gusto ang payapa, maunlad, maayos na pamumuhay. Yun ang dapat, makatulong. Hindi kaysa parang na-promote mo sila. Dahil alam naman natin ang problema sa Abu Sayyaf. Hirap na hirap din ang ating mga kapulisan at mga sundalo para lupigin sila at papagbalik loobin sa ating gobyerno. Pero sana nga, isang umaga magising ako, wala nang mga ganyan. Dahil masarap mabuhay na meron kang pamamana sa mga anak mo na mapayapang buhay.
Maraming salamat po.
Alright. Thank you very much, Attorney Percy Da Costa, Chief of the Public Attorney's Office.
Andiyan naman kayo. Thank you, ma'am, for that very forceful presentation. Hindi ba? Come again? All right, some updates. Philippine manufacturing sector remains the second best performing among ASEAN countries. The Philippine manufacturing sector continues to sustain its momentum. According to Nikkei ASEAN Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, the country's manufacturing sector got a score of 53.3, indicating a solid increase in output for the month of April. It is second to Vietnam. The January 27 labor force survey conducted by the Philippine Statistics Authority showed that the largest percentage of employment can be attributed to the manufacturing sector. Hence, this is consistent with the Duterte administration's goal of generating 1.2 million jobs annually as it continues to accelerate growth in the manufacturing sector. Also, on the Philippine Stock Exchange rallying to a two-year high, the good showing of the Philippine Stock Exchange reaching 7,962.33 level yesterday, the highest in 2 years, reflects the growing market and investor confidence in the Duterte administration. The Philippine economy is said to have likely grown 7% in the first quarter of 2017, and we're optimistic that we will reach our target of sustained and inclusive economic growth for the rest of the year as we begin to roll out our Build, Build, Build infrastructure campaign. The Duterte administration has started to lay down the foundations of bringing prosperity to all Filipinos. Also, during the cabinet meeting yesterday, there were preparations. Some points were discussed. For one, preparations for the big one. The cabinet accepted the proposal of NDRRMC on the National Earthquake Preparedness Program, subject to the inclusion of the comments and inputs of the secretaries of the Department of Social Welfare, DSWD, and the PCOO on the possible relocation of government offices located near the West Valley Fault System and the organization of a comprehensive communications campaign on national earthquake preparedness. Also, the cabinet approved the report on the road to federalism. Also reported were results of the President's visit to the Middle East, the Social Welfare Secretary to coordinate with the concerned agencies and to prepare a menu of opportunities and benefits that can be availed by returning overseas Filipino workers. There was also a briefing on the WEF, which the President will be attending in Cambodia, and also a briefing on the Food Forum. We will take a few questions.
Okay, first question from Joseph Morong of GMA7.
Sir, on the UN review, nabanggit na kanina kay Chief Acosta, but I'd like to get the palace position. What do you think of the 45 votes to a suggestion for the government to investigate extrajudicial killings in the country, and France's appeal to drop the death penalty?
Well, that's part of a comprehensive menu, right? So, but I just like to highlight what the head of delegation stated, Senator Cayetano, when he said that the killings in the Philippines in the previous administrations varied from a low of 11,000 to a high of 16,000. And he made mention, why was not this reported? Why is there no apples-to-apples comparison between the figures of past and present administrations? Because, he says, some of the critics of the Duterte administration, including our very own Commission on Human Rights, a senator and some local media, changed the definition of extrajudicial killings, therefore deceiving the public and foreign media into believing that there is a sudden wave of state-sponsored extrajudicial killings in the Philippines. He pointed out that the AO signed by the past president defined EJKs as the killing of the members or advocates of cause-oriented organizations like labor, environment, or media activists, resulting in a very low number of supposed EJKs in the past administration. However, for the current administration, a different definition is being used. It now refers to any death outside of those caused by natural causes, accidents and those ordered by the courts.
Given that statement, sir, do you mean that there's no need for us as a government to investigate the EJ case?
No, everything is still under, like the lady said earlier, everything is subjected to due process. Okay,
So we will investigate.
we're investigating everything that needs to be investigated.
Next question from Leila Salaveria of Inquirer.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir,
Yes,
on another topic, the idea of turning Janet Napoles into a state witness is being discussed again. Sir, is the palace open to this possibility of using her as a witness against other government officials who benefited from the pork barrel?
So far, the only statement we have received from the Solgen is the fact that there was really no evidence against her regarding that particular accusation. There's been no mention official, for example, during the cabinet meeting, that Ms. Napoles would be used as a state witness. There has been no formal mention. None.
Sir, has the president signified his opinion on this matter?
It was not discussed. Okay.
But another topic.
Okay.
Sir, since federalism was discussed in the cabinet meeting,
Yes.
did they approve any timeline on when this will happen? And may we get an update on the appointment of members to the Constitutional Commission to
Right,
study
okay.
charter change?
Well, really what their PLLO, the liaison, is pushing for, encouraging for this thing to be completed. For example, the guidance on the mode to be adopted, whether it's going to be CONAS or CONCON, has to be completed. The president has to make a decision within the year and to really get it going. So our timeline is, at the very least, at the end of this year.
Sir, I thought the president favored the CONAS.
Well, he has, but I think it's being, but he has voiced some preferences, but I think it's under discussion. Yeah.
Thank you.
JP Bencito of the Manila Standard.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Sir, balik lang ako na sa EJ case. Sir, since 45 out of 47 countries who manifested yesterday, do you think the government is successful in somehow changing the mindset on EJ case in the country? With this number of manifestations, 45.
We're not attempting to change anybody's minds about these things. We're just simply pursuing our own direction regarding the dismantling of the illegal drug apparatus. However, like the lady said earlier,
Chief Acosta.
Chief Acosta, yes, thank you. The one who was standing in front. She is open, and assuming that that is also the government line. We're open, just as long as everything is valid and objective.
Sir, on another topic, you
Yes.
mentioned about the National Earthquake Plan.
Yes.
Sir, was it already discussed what government offices are we planning to transfer to other places?
There were just suggestions about those matters. I think it will be discussed. Let's wait on PCOO to roll out the education campaign regarding the matter.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Raymond Tenaza of Bombo Radio.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Sir, aside from being a B-Medal General, what did the President see with the new DENR Secretary, Roy Simato, to be qualified with the helm?
Well, during the cabinet meeting, he did make this. He did make this comment. He said that he felt that this General Simato was extraordinarily gifted for the task of balancing environmental concerns with mining operations concerns. So it's what the president was saying is basically what he's looking for really is balance.
So this, his gift of balancing the two interests will make him easier to pass the confirmation at the CA, which was the problem of former Secretary Gina Lopez.
I suppose what they're looking for is a certain sense of objectivity, a sense of balance.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Maricel Halili of TV5.
Sir, good morning. Just to follow up.
Yes.
Is the President still considering Gina Lopez to be one of the undersecretaries of DNR?
I don't know if really it's official. He did, he did make, no. We cannot say. No, you might assume that it is official, but no, there's no official statement suggesting that Gina Lopez is going to be the USEC.
All right, but at least did they talk about it? I mean, did you talk about it among the cabinet?
No, it was not. It was not discussed. It was not discussed. What was highlighted was General Simatu's capacity to be able to strike an objective point of view regarding DENR.
But sir, dun sa DILG position, is the President considering Representative Fariñas to be appointed as the new DILG secretary?
Let's just wait for the appointment list to come out.
But he's being considered.
It has not been mentioned.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Pia
Yes, sir.
Gutierrez, ABS-CBN.
Sir, balik po dun sa UN review, but is the administration at least concerned po over the number of countries expressing their concern over the human rights situation here in the Philippines, sir?
I suppose in the same way that not concerned, but only I suppose not in the sense of wanting to convince these people, because really what the president, him being the one who really directs the foreign policy of the nation, is really single-minded about, and as pointed out earlier in the report given by the PAO, that really he is in good, strong ground in attempting to dismantle the drug apparatus. So they're open to comments, they're open to present their own criticisms, opinions. However, we will continue to pursue our own line of action.
Sir, is it the administration's belief that the countries are mainly misinformed over the situation here in the Philippines, sir?
Well, as the lady said, as the PAO chief said, that basically there has been a misunderstanding about what we are actually doing. And so part of it probably could among other things, the review is actually wanting to know the accountability that we have. And so that's exactly what we're trying to present now. I suppose our situation has been overtaken by the media hype and the media effort in trying to create a noise that is beyond what is really there.
Sir, on another topic,
Yes.
President Duterte is set to address investors according to DFA spokesman Bolivar at the WEF.
Yes.
Ano po yung iha-highlight niya, sir, regarding economic plans of the administration?
There's a new the one that they presented, I think, during the build, during the Dutertenomics. It was an excellent presentation. It's worthy of being shown. And by the way, today, the president was elected a year ago, exactly a year ago today. And so we'd like to say
Sir, last question. Sir, will the President bring a business delegation, sir, to the WEF and the Belt and Road Forum?
as far as I know, yes. As far as I know.
Sino-sino, sir, ang kasama?
I don't have the exact list of names. Okay.
Okay, next questions from Dexter Ganibe of DZMM, to be followed by Benji and then Ina.
Sir, balik lang po doon sa bagong DNR Secretary.
Yes po.
Isa po sa mga isinusulong at pinag-uusapan ngayon sa peace talks with NPA, CPP-NPA, ay ang pagsusulong ng social justice. At isa nga sa mga tumugon dito, ang tanggapan ng DENR. Paano po may papasok? Paano po matatanggap ng makakaliwang grupo, NPA, or paano hahawakan ng isang dating militar na dating naging AFP chief, no? Yung pagkontra ng NPA at ilang progresibong grupo sa
So-
appointment niya as the Environment Secretary.
In the words of the president, when he sat down, he sat right beside Ms. Lisa Masa. And she said, magkaibigan na kayo ngayon. Sabi ko na. But really, social justice is not the purview of just a political ideology. The concept of social justice is a sense that belongs to all of humanity. So simply because he's a military man does not in any way disqualify him from the concept and embracing of social justice.
Okay, Benji Liwanag.
Sir, tanong ko lang yung kay BSP Governor Nestor Espinilla.
Yes po.
Sir, na-check ba bago siya may appoint ni Pangulong Duterte? May kaso yata sa Office of the Ombudsman?
I think he was cleared regarding the matter.
He was cleared in that matter. Thank you.
Okay, next question, Ina Andalong of CNN Philippines.
Hi sir, since you mentioned na rin po na 1 year na since the president was elected,
Yes, ma'am.
and today the appointment ban on losing candidates also expires. Has the president mentioned anything about pending appointments he may make na manggagaling po from losing candidates?
No mention, there was no discussion either about who was going to be reappointed, especially those who were banned from doing so. But I think there's been a list. There's been a list I think that you're familiar with. It's with the Malacanang Records Office. You may check that. Thank you.
Okay, last two questions, Joseph Morong of GMA7, and then the gentleman from Business Mirror, and then Bombo Radyo.
Gentlemen.
Ja Rosales.
Sir, dun sa lobby money na sinabi ni President, why would
We need to correct that. You know, the president did say last night that when he said lobby, it's not necessarily money. It's a question. He corrected himself. He said, I mean, he clarified himself. He said that when he said lobby, people automatically assumed that there was an exchange of money. But he said basically that lobby is a legal thing that you can actually exercise in order to persuade one's particular position. So it was not a pejorative. He was saying, in a sense, he was clarifying last night. It was not a pejorative accusation that money was transferred or that money was exchanged.
But sir, that's his term. Lobby money talks.
He gave a gloss. Okay, he gave a gloss on what he said last night. I'm just transmitting to you what I heard. Thank you.
Pero sir, yun nga, I mean, bakit siya nagba-backpedal ngayon?
He's not backpedaling. He's simply adding to the explanation.
So who is he talking to when he's clarifying himself?
To the cabinet?
Ah, yeah?
Yes.
Ba't may nagtanong ba, sir?
Hindi naman. Basta nagsalita lang siya.
So sir, so there's no more basis for any investigation because the president clarified himself and said, I didn't mean money, I said pressure.
I don't know if that necessarily halts any investigation, but certainly he clarified his position. He added more light to his statement.
Okay,
Last
sir.
two questions, Ja Rosales of Business Mirror.
Good afternoon, sir.
afternoon.
Two questions, sir.
Yes.
Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol yesterday said he will recommend to President Duterte to declare Benham Rice as a protected food supply exclusive zone. Napag-usapan po ba yun, sir, kahapon sa cabinet meeting?
He did raise that up.
Sir, pero di ba, sir, merong controversial na naging usapan nitong nakaraang buwan o nung Marso na pinayagan kasi ni President yung mga Chinese vessels doon sa Benham Rice. Ano pong reaction ni Secretary Piñol dito?
He just said, and he was saying in effect, he was asking permission to, he was suggesting, simply suggesting. It was not fully discussed, as is the want of the president. He listens and then he mulls about it, and then we'll give an opinion later.
On another topic, sir, can you give us an update on the President's legislative agenda as discussed in the cabinet meeting?
It was not discussed, but it was a late presentation. Right? I can give you a list about that, but I think there's a list. I can provide it to you later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's about it.
Okay, sir,
Have a
last two
great lunch.
questions, Raymond Tinaza of Bombo Radyo.
Yes.
Hi, sir. So,
Yes.
wala pa kayong balak maging active din sa Facebook? Kasi nauunahan kayo ni Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol sa pagpo-post ng mga appointments. Like kahapon, nauna siya eh. So, baka pwede niyong sabayan din sa kanyang Facebook post.
Tama, Facebook wars.
I mean,
No,
what's the policy? Kasi parang nagkaroon kasi na parang nagkakagulatan kasi na nauna siya tapos biglang nabubura rin. Eventually,
He tends to get excited. Di ba? One?
Yung sa Tadeco, I think, yung
Yes,
sa
sir.
Davao, Parang sabi ni SOJ, no, sabi ng office, paano ba? Yung TADECO, the president can parang rescind the contract kasi government land yun. Is he inclined to rescind the contract between TADECO and I think Bucor?
Well, he will go by due process, okay? He will go by due process.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Have a great lunch, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, friends from the media. That ends our press briefing. Back to the main studio of PTV4 and Radyo ng Bayan.